So my name is Christina Hagerty. I'm a dryland cereal pathologist based at the Columbia Basin Ag Research Center. Today, I've got the pleasure of introducing and interviewing Donald Wirth. And Donnie was a keynote speaker at the Direct Seed Association, and I had a couple follow-up questions for him after his presentation. So to introduce Donnie, he has been farming since 1968, mostly on the seed production side. And over the course of his career, he started 3 seed companies. And at this point in time, he still has a grass-finished beef business. And so my questions for Donnie really revolve around cover cropping and seed sources. And so Donnie is also known as an innovator and a challenger. So my first question for Donnie is, what do you think the biggest barriers are for young farmers to start innovating on their farm?
Well, obviously, capital's part of it. But I think the second thing is to be able to look into the future and realize that in 6-8 years, you will not be doing some things the way you've been doing. And times are changing, part of it because we have to, part of it because we learn more things every day. And their ability to adapt and take ideas and become experts on their own farms.
So you're on the seed production side. What should growers be cautious of out here and just in the PNW in general when they're choosing a cover crop seed source? Well,
deal with a reputable company. Demand to see purity and germ analysis from a lab, because for us to ship seed across state lines, it's federal requirement. And the germ should be within 6 months. If seed's been stored in the Midwest, it can lose a bulk of its germ in July and 30 days if it's not stored in proper conditions. We can store it here in Oregon, Willamette Valley for 5 years. But those things are very important. Just like there was a guy on Facebook this morning said he had planted these cover crops last year. He was very disappointed because his ryegrass didn't survive. And I said, well, what variety do you get? Well, he says, I don't know. I just took whatever my supplier gave me. Well, not that I'm encouraging your area to use ryegrass, but ryegrass has been bred for forage along the Gulf Coast, southern U.S. It's been bred now for turf, which has no root system. And then there's varieties that have been selected and bred for winter hardiness. And you got that wide a scheme, and that's true of many of the species. And then you got different maturity dates. Like there's 2 or 3 Balanza clovers on the market that have probably a 2-week difference in maturity date. And so the other thing is if you're talking to a good seed source, I like to ask them, what's your long-range goal? Then we work up what species we should incorporate to get toward that goal you need or want.
Do you think cover crop seed could be produced in dryland conditions here in Eastern Oregon?
Well, we know they can. Because there's areas produce canola. Well, if they can produce canola, they could produce our bayou kale. I don't think they could produce our shield mustard because I'm not sure it's winter hardy enough. Probably hairy vetch, some of those. They just need to know what the impact is on their other crops. I do not know of anything else in this world that amounts to anything very productive that you can take something from every year and have as much or more than you started in the soil. You got a pile of gold, you need a little bit, you take it, it's less. And I have absolutely no doubt that by and large, our farm is more productive, healthier, etc., than it was 50 years ago. really what's most important is what happens below the soil. Surface is just visual. I used to watch the neighbors, and I'd much rather see what they did wrong than what they did right, because there's no sense making the same mistake they did.
So if folks are interested in trying some cover cropping, you mentioned that you'd be willing to send out a small quantity of seed. So I'll put up your contact information so folks can contact you.